Alright, so it's Cars and Coffee today here at St Ives Autobrunch. Look at everything. I brought one of my 928s. This is my 84 automatic. It's not the tidiest of cars, to be honest. The paint's a bit tired, but this car is very nice. And it belongs to Richard here, who's only just joined the 928 fraternity. And it's manual, no sunroof, Pasha interior. And Richard is a fascinating guy. You're going to enjoy meeting him. So you're going to be my co-host today, Richard Hopkins.
Richard Hopkins.
Why is that name familiar? How many Grand Prix have you been into or involved with?
Oh, over 500.
That must have been a shitload of tickets.
Well, there's the thing though. There's the thing, Stu. I didn't pay to go to one Grand Prix. In fact, I got paid to go to Grand Prix. How cool is that?
You lucky bastard. Did it ever get boring?
Secretly, yeah, sometimes. Sometimes, but probably as a whole, no. I enjoyed every single one of them.
So how can that be? How did you get to go to all these Grand Prix?
Okay, I worked in Formula One for close on 30 years.
So would you know some of the drivers?
I would say I know some, probably.
These are obviously leading questions.
Yeah, they are.
So who do you know? Come on, drop some names.
I'll drop them and then we'll pick them up on the way back through. Hey, I was reasonably chummy with Michael Schumacher, friends with Ayrton, unfortunately for not as long as I'd have liked, for sure.
Yep.
David Coulthard and Mika Hakkinen are very good friends even today.
And you swap abuse with Nigel Mansell?
Swap a lot of abuse with Nigel, yeah. We got quite a quirky friendship and relationship after his very short time at McLaren in the mid-90s. But yeah, I've got many stories about Nigel.
So what do you actually do? What's your main role in those teams?
I started at Brabham's when I was 16 years old, back in 1986, 87, spending time working in every single department for 5 years, so that was really my grounding. And I started when I was 16. I sort of forewent tertiary education, but I suppose Formula One was my university. I love the colour.
Lovely.
Nice colour.
It is a lovely colour.
What's going on with the rear wheels here?
They're not, I don't think they're OEM. The rear wheels are not exactly right. They're from the 944 Turbo. Really nice though, of course. They actually look really good. Look, at this point we got a bit distracted by all the pretty cars, so I'll fill in the gaps really quickly. Richard spent 28 years in Formula One, a lot of it with the McLaren team and then Red Bull, where he ultimately became head of operations for the Formula One team. Now, he played a pivotal role in changing the team's fortunes from backmarkers that had never won a Grand Prix to the dominant team that, as we all know, won consecutive world championships. All got a bit monotonous, didn't it? But then in 2016 he emigrated to Australia with his family and for some bizarre reason developed an interest in the old Porsche 928, like I have. And that's how he stumbled across me. So here we are. So you kind of look like a cross between Adrian Newey and Christian Horner to me anyway. Do you get that a bit?
You're not the first person to ever said that. I don't know if I prefer the Christian. He's younger than me.
Yeah.
Or the Adrian, but he's older than me, so maybe just somewhere in the middle.
Adrian Newey's a nice guy.
Adrian's amazing. Yeah. Spent a lot of time in Adrian's office every Monday morning.
Did you?
We used to spend half an hour sort of debriefing.
After a race?
After a race, and more so actually what we were doing for the following race.
Okay.
It was Adrian's job to come up with the vision and the innovation and the technology, and it was my job to deliver upon that. So very much building the business at Red Bull to cope with his absolutely immense amount of work that he was able to create. The speed at which Adrian innovated was just, well, that was the thing that won the championships and still wins the championships for Adrian.
He's a fascinating guy. I have a story. I met him once in Dubai for the 24-hour race. I was with Melrose's Commodore team, and I plucked up my courage and I approached him and I said, Mr. Newey, I'm with Mel's team. We're driving this big V8 Commodore taxi cab thing. You're the world-renowned expert on aerodynamics. Is there any tips you can share with us so we can fix the aerodynamics in this car before the race tomorrow?
Right.
And he just said, crush it. So I don't know if he thought it was a serious question or I was just taking the piss, or
Yeah.
I was trying to be respectful.
Look, there's probably you were one of a very long list, probably of people who have asked him for his advice and probably took you seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, Adrian, if you're watching, you probably don't remember that, but you'll certainly remember him. It's a bit of a Porsche fest today. You normally don't see quite so many of them, but cabs, 3 cabs, 996 Carrera, Dennis Brooks's 914, 6-cylinder one, Cayman GTS.
Maybe where I'm from,
Yep.
you know, seeing something like this,
Yep.
you know, not necessarily that rare, but I can only imagine the numbers of 914-6s in Australia.
Yeah, pretty rare.
Must be rare. I mean, a lot of these cars are rare here. I don't know if anybody follows Shmee 150.
Yeah.
Tim, you know, Tim's.
Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hi, I'm Shmee.
Sorry, Shmee.
But there is
we love
something
you.
about him, you know. Unfortunately, he's painted it in the most godly colour. I mean, it's an original Porsche colour, but I don't necessarily think it suits the car.
Look at this beautiful Hurley with steel wheels. Would be a 901 before they could even call it 911, I guess.
Is it a 901? Or could it even be a 912?
Yeah, it could be. Actually, let's have a look. It is a 912.
Oh.
You're right. So it's the 4-cylinder. No,
But
except he's put a 6-cylinder motor in.
it?
It says 91. No, it says 912 that way, but it's upside down. Go figure. Stephen, I had a 901.
Yes.
1960, March 1966, I think my car was.
Yep.
It was the
Same
third-
year as that.
Is it? And it says 912 upside down on the boot lid.
Yeah, it's a little play on what it was, how it started life. So it's a 66 short wheelbase 912. California car, brought to Australia back in the late 90s, converted by Porsche Adelaide. The motor disappeared at some point in its life. A new 6-cylinder flat 6 motor put in it.
What capacity?
It's now, it was a 2.7, it's now 2.8, running Marley pistons, fuel injection, electronic ignition,
Yep.
915 gearbox. So, and it's running, it needs it running S brakes on it.
Excellent.
I think the key thing behind this car was lightweight. It's only 966 kilos, but it's pushing out over 200 horsepower. So it's a very exciting drive.
The tyres look almost like the correct period Pirelli CN36s, if you remember them.
They are Pirellis on. We saw some classic Porsche dealies for it, which is sort of complementing the look. It is very light to drive. It's sort of very untypical Porsche, where you need to dab a little bit on the brakes into sharp corners to throw some weight forward to get the steering right. So it's something, certainly as you're driving it, that you really need to be concentrating. We're very happy with how it's turned out.
Beautiful car. Thanks for bringing
you
it
very
out.
much.
And the cage was? Did you put the cage in, or was that in it?
Cage was in it when I purchased it. That was all part of the whole sort of style of the car. I didn't want to go down the typical R-type or RS-type
Yeah.
builds. This was just more about unique. It was about a fast Sunday car.
Beautiful. Great to meet you. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
showing us the
thanks so
car.
much.
Cheers. You can't get more British than that, can you? Very tidy MG. I mean, that is beautifully presented. I think he did everything himself. It's not
It looks like he drives it.
Have a look at the finish.
Yeah.
Just did it all himself.
All hand rolled.
We've seen this car on the channel before. That's the bloke you want to talk to there. Richard's first time here at Cars and Coffee, so we're just having a look around and
Showing him around.
yeah, good to see you. And of course, the best thing about this car is that it's driven.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. We take it out every weekend. He'll drive it up and I'll drive it home.
Yeah.
He's made a booster seat for me because he's 6 foot. So, and then he puts a thing on the pedal, on the clutch, so that I can actually change the gears properly. So yeah, it's a beautiful car to drive. It holds the road really well. Like, you don't have to brake on the corners, it just goes around.
And gets a lot of attention, I'm sure, wherever you go.
Well, it does actually. You meet some really beautiful people. Yeah, it's really nice.
And then you meet me as well. So you get both kinds of people.
actually it's racked up 57,000 Ks now.
Wow.
Yeah, we use it every weekend, you know, as long as it's not raining. And we go everywhere in it, so it's good.
And you're building a gull-wing SLR.
Doing gull wing, yep. So I'm in the design stage at the moment. So I did change a lot of things. I made the front suspension arms 3 inches longer because the roll centers go through less change and less migration. And in the back, they have an inherent issue with bump steer in the rear, and it's because of the lower A-arm that they use. So I got rid of that, and I actually put 2 lateral links in the bottom, and what it does, it still moves, the wheel moves back, but it rhombuses, but I get 0 bump steer, so it's super stable, this car. So you can even launch it off ripple strips and just stay in it, just don't get out.
I mean, my question to you was, were you following original design, and did you get access to drawings, certainly of things like wishbones, but by the sounds of it, you didn't?
Well, like I still wanted to stay along the same lines, like it's double wishbone with a coilover shock absorber, and they're in the same places. But even the original cars, you can see they have a very short suspension arm in the top. So
have you got wider track?
No, the track's the same. But what I did it all through the wheel. And I had to make my own wheels. I had to make my own upright. I had to make all of that.
So different offsetting
wheels and
the slightly longer.
That's right, and
wishbones.
The original stub axles and upright has a lot more sort of V in it, so hence you end up with a shorter arm. But if you take that V out of it, you can bring the upper and lower ball joints in closer to the wheel, and then that's where you steal the extra length in the suspension.
So the mounting points are standard,
mounting points,
but everything
standard.
Outboard.
Everything
different
outboard
wishbones, different wheels, and I guess your own design of upright as well.
Yeah, that's right. I did a billet upright, and and I ended up making the arms, the tubular arms. So, and all the adjustments are predominantly in the top arm. I do have adjustments in the lower arm on the inner. No, it's a rose joint in the top.
So you can adjust it on the rose joint rather than shims.
Yeah, and the inner rose joint as well. So you got 2 adjustments there. Yeah, and on the lower arm it's a spherical bearing because it takes a lot more load. I did have a very large rose joint in there. But it broke. I said to a friend, let's go for a drive and get a coffee. We drove up the coast, came back, and I got to my driveway at work, and I went in as a hump, and it just collapsed. It collapsed and pushed the tyre into the guard. So, you know, I just
dodged a bullet.
I dodged a bullet. So
you should ring up your mate Adrian and share some of these pointers with him.
And after that I went, okay, no rose joints on the bottom. I spoke to an engineer, and the rose joint on the top, they're a chrome moly. Every year I just change that rose joint. And but the lower is a spherical bearing now, so I feel completely confident with that. But yeah, look, these are the lessons. You know, this is you do learn by your errors.
It's beautiful, James. Thanks for showing it to us.
Yeah, no problem. Brilliant.
Thanks very much.
Classic old Morgan. Definitely not in concourse condition. Look at the paint here. You can see very crazed, but that's good. It's driven, original condition, with the number plate.
You know that actually the producers and directors of Magnum originally wanted to have a 928.
Did they?
They did. But because they had obviously used an unblessed 928 in risky business, and because of the association that they had, unsavoury, they thought, well, we don't want to fall foul of that.
No.
We're not going to let them have a 928. So that's why they went for the 308.
They really are beautiful, aren't they?
They are gorgeous.
21s? 20s. Got a carbon fibre.
Look at the size of the calipers.
Yeah. Bet you wish you had calipers that size on your Red Bulls, friggin' little Formula 1 cars with your pukey little 16-inch wheels or whatever they are.
I've gone up to 18s now.
Are they 18s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once upon a time only 13-inch up until a few years ago.
Yeah.
Obviously with a big tyre wall. No, 20s at the back as well.
20s at the back. Yeah. Nice Spider RS. Let's have a look. Yep. Yep, it's got the obligatory Elvis in there. And a disco ball, patron saint of blessed acceleration there. It's ticking all the boxes, isn't it?
Patina. Look at the patina.
There's the owner, we can't spot him, and his co-pilot. There's a lot to like about this car, Richard.
There is. I mean, I'm shaking my head, just in somewhat disbelief, but...
You don't see this in the UK?
No.
Imagine if you parked that in the paddock at an F1 event. It'd get a lot of attention.
It would get a lot of attention.
So, Dean, did you have any problem recognising whose was whose 928? The two 928s parked together? Did you know which is mine?
I didn't know whose cars they were,
Yeah.
but there was a good one and a bad one,
Yeah.
and I liked the good one,
Yeah.
and I wasn't surprised to find out that the bad one was actually
Some people are so cruel. The internet's a
I
horrible
didn't know.
place.
I just thought, like, there's a shitty car,
Huh.
and I wonder what Stuart's doing. And there you were.
Oh, buddy, do you want to cuddle?
Yeah, I feel like a cuddle now. Bye, Dean.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Wow.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Whoa. And it's red. Red goes faster? So what brought you to Australia? You're here now.
My wife.
Okay.
My wife.
She got sick of the cold weather.
I think
It's
so.
a cold day today. Look what you're wearing.
Yeah, but I'm English.
And you came out here and you've had exposure to the most unbelievable cars all over the world, and yet you've chosen to buy a 928. They're a 40-year-old, somewhat passé relic. I thought I was the only relic around here.
Maybe. Look, I think what the 928 represents, certainly to me, I think it's good engineering. I love seeing good engineering and good design, and I think a 928 for sure is probably overly engineered in a lot of ways. But even today, you know, you can only imagine back in 77, 78, when it was shown for the first time. I mean, even today it looks amazing. I'd like to think that I appreciate good design, and that's probably what drew me towards the 928.
Okay. And coming back more specifically to your role in Formula One.
I was sweeper upper at Brabham's when I was a mere lad. I was a mechanic at McLaren, and that was probably the time when, you know, relationships with drivers were at the strongest. When you're doing the seatbelts up for drivers, you become quite good friends with them. And then I moved.
Which drivers were you working with mainly in those McLaren years?
Ayrton in 92, 93, bit of time with Nigel in 95, but predominantly, certainly at the time that I was with the team travelling, Mika Hakkinen and David Coulthard.
Okay.
David and I used to race karts when we were kids, and we were sort of potentially for a moment in time on a similar sort of career path. We both wanted to make it to Formula One. We did both make it to Formula One. But I was David's mechanic for 7 years.
Okay.
I had to still worry about my gas bill, and David probably didn't.
No.
That was the subtle difference.
And then after McLaren?
And then after McLaren, because of my friendship with David and Adrian, they'd both moved to the newly formed Red Bull team that came out of the Jaguar team. So Dietrich Mateschitz decided to go beyond just sponsoring teams, which he had done at that point, to actually buying a Formula One team. But he actually bought two. So he bought the Jaguar team and turned that into Red Bull, and then bought the Minardi team and turned that into Toro Rosso, which then became AlphaTauri, and goodness knows what it's called today.
Yeah, V-Carb or who knows.
RB, something or other.
Yeah.
So went into the operational side. So certainly going to Red Bull, I think Adrian recognised what I was trying to achieve at McLaren, and maybe we were both struggling with McLaren being very much sort of set in its ways, long time established, believing they had the formula for success, and maybe there was just better opportunity for both of us at Red Bull. So yeah, as I say, Adrian was the visionary, he was the designer, but needed the company, the business, to be able to deliver upon his designs, and that was the challenge for me. So, and I think we did a reasonably good job.
You did a very good job.
I think we did okay. And the glorious thing is, as much as I'm still not there, the team's still doing reasonably well today.
Yeah, they sure are. Although I did see the London Marathon. This is relevant in a minute. London Marathon was last weekend. I saw a funny sign someone was carrying saying, "Congratulations, you've now done more distance than Liam did in the Red Bull."
I mean, harsh but fair.
There's an awful lot of stuff going on there. Yeah. A lot of carbon.
I think that's just a wrap.
I think at some stage in its life this was once a Datsun.
Yes.
It's...
Now it's...
What are we running under there? I think this is a recipe for trouble, this car, mate. We got a large hairdryer here. Yeah, it's all very custom down there. You'd want to be to put that power to the ground. 2002, lovely colour. It's just tidy. Yeah, the wheels, for example, are original. Nice car.
Deserves to be here.
It's pretty. Nice colour too. First time I look at that bonnet from the wrong angle, you think, oh, he's had a front end biff and it's bowed it up. But this isn't a mirror.
Have they ever made and released a Lotus with a name that doesn't begin with E?
Don't think so.
I don't think so. Eclat?
Eclat, a mirror, a Spillan. Now you're a Pom. My first 3 cars were all Minis. Come on over and we'll have a look. I'll tell you what I know.
I've seen the back of this one though.
No. It's the fastback, the broad speed.
It's the broad speed. Look at that.
Now you don't see that very often in Australia. Might have been originally the Brian Foley Motors. Might have originally delivered that. So what I can tell you, 9FSAY engine number is genuine 1275. 45 DCI Weber. Power booster came with the Cooper S's.
I found the owner.
We found the owner. It's a 1275 originally, but
now it's a 1310.
1310.
Yeah, I just done the engine.
Yep. So it's a 40 thou overbore or a 20 thou overbore. 40. There we go. And a side draft Weber.
Yeah.
With the straight through manifold, so you not the gooseneck one. So you. Yep.
Yeah, I just put the trumpets on it.
And you can hear it in the cabin going.
That's all you hear.
And you're pushing out a mighty, maybe 85, 90 horsepower?
Yeah, 95.
95? I only had 85. Tell us about the body. Is this an Australian delivered car?
Yes, this
From
is
Brian Foley?
Brian Foley and Laurie Stewart.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. They only built 5. This is number 5. There's only 2 left.
Has it got a lumpy cam in it?
Yes, it's a Graham Russell one.
Okay.
I didn't want to go too big, but it's got a nice...
Like the 731 cam profile?
Yeah.
See, it might be 40 years ago, but I still remember my shit with Minis.
The guy that I bought it off had it for 55 years, never been seen to the public until now.
Wow.
Never started, never. So since I bought it, unfortunately the engine packed it in, so I had to do a complete overhaul.
Okay. And do you drive it a bit, or just to Cars and Coffee?
I only just drive it to car shows. Look, I've got another 4 at home.
Good on you, champ. What's your name?
Joe Sylvia.
Joe, nice to meet you. Stuart, nice to meet you, buddy. Old Mini guy.
Yeah.
And Richard.
But they made this broad speed because down the buffers, down the straight, they were getting around about 100 miles an hour. By doing this shape and lowering the car by 2 inches, they were getting 128 miles an hour.
That's unheard of for one of these.
Yeah.
But look, your Regos ran out 46 years ago.
Oh, look, that was the owner.
Oh,
that had
that's not the current sticker. No.
I got pulled up by the cop going, he should be taken over. Let's look.
Mate.
It's just a sticker today.
No, there's not. Oh, look at your seat. Oh, just for old time's sake. Now the thing about Minis is you've got pedals the size of postage stamps, and you sit with your knees out like this. You feel like a bus driver with a sort of flattish wheel. That's actually a nice seat.
Yes.
It's got nice lateral support.
Well, they're the original seats.
Are they really? They're much better than the standard ones. I mean,
Yeah.
back support still comes basically up to your L5 vertebrae, that's all, but
The English version is the dash is completely different
Yeah.
than the
Yeah,
Aussie
yeah.
version.
it had this, just the
Yeah,
centre,
yeah,
the centre speed.
middle.
But you have to take that speedo out to fit the Weber in anyway.
Yeah,
That's great. And oh, look, the original radio too.
yeah.
Oh, this is a time capsule. This thing, like you. Takes one to know one.
A bloke came to me and he goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Joe Sylvian." He said, "You're the legend. You're the legend, mate. I see you on Facebook and all this." I said, "No, I'm not a legend, mate. I'm just an ordinary person."
You got to try it out, Mr. Formula One guy.
Yeah, you're a Formula One guy.
Red Bull and McLaren through the glory days, Ayrton Senna and Nigel Mansell in those days. So
No way.
and Hakkinen and those guys. Yeah, so he's Schumacher. So yes, he's come out here now to work with us.
Oh, so what do you do?
I'm just a car YouTuber. I'm just a Porsche guy who likes old cars. That's okay. We're all just car nuts. Come and have a chat to Richard here. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, you're right about the seat,
Yeah.
It's bloody good, isn't it?
isn't it?
Yeah. Normal minis are not like that.
For me, it's absolutely perfect. Bit low at the back.
Yeah.
You're right, but I can get my knees under.
It's good, isn't it?
I might have to get me one of these.
I think mini prices are quite inflated, and don't buy a Moke because Mokes are garbage.
Look, on my one, I've been offered 70 to 80 thousand,
Yeah.
but I can't sell them.
No.
They've been part of the family.
You would love to drive one of these.
I would love to drive one of these.
They're the sort of car when you're just doing the speed limit 60 k's an hour, you feel like you're doing 160. They're fun. And they do handle, and they do stop, but yeah, it's a long bow to say that they're comfortable. They're not comfortable. Here we are, 59 Corvette with the original 283, looking very, very original. Would you say it's very, very original?
Yes.
3-speed manual. These were the astronauts' car, weren't they? All the astronauts had to have one, which they raced along. Some unusual things about this. I've never seen this cover over the distributor and leads before, but I gather that's standard. Oh, that is just gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's pretty, isn't it?
It is. It is. Now, if we had Adrian Newey with us today,
Yeah.
what do you think Adrian would say about this? That's interesting. Bracket on, or you remove the bracket and it comes.
No,
back
but it does.
down
It
into-
doesn't activate automatically on lap 2.
No, it's not a DRS.
Obviously, big turbo on it. I can see the intercooler hiding behind there.
And I suggested Garrett. What do you think about the SLs, Stuart?
Oh, I've never really had the bug, but I appreciate them for their elegance,
Yeah.
timeless styling.
The Pagodas, obviously, earlier model to this,
Yeah.
are very nice. And my good friend David Coulthard was gifted one for his, must have been, I guess it was his 30th birthday. And were both born in 1971.
I have to ask you, of all the F1 drivers that you've worked with over the years, who would you say you've enjoyed the most? And it doesn't have to be one. Who would?
Look, I suppose I've been very good friends with David Coulthard for a long, long time, to the point, where we still speak to each other now and again. So, they often say with a lot of sports people or successful people, I suppose they've got a sense of arrogance within them, and certainly in sport, that competitive side. It was evident with somebody like Michael Schumacher, obviously, and David was maybe too nice to ever win a championship, potentially. But a lovely guy. He was quick on his day. Unfortunately, he had Mika as a teammate during his time at McLaren. But yeah, look, and Ayrton Senna, of course, for obvious reasons. Ayrton was just in a different league. You've got to remember when those guys were driving, certainly, during Ayrton's sort of career and preceding him, there was none of this telemetry that we have today, none of this technology existed. So the relationship between driver and engineer was really quite special.
Yeah.
And the feedback you got from a driver that then translated into the engineer and then made those performance enhancements over a race weekend was critical. And Ayrton was just probably a a step above everyone else. He was probably an engineer in his own sort of right. So he was just exceptional.
Mika Hakkinen?
Mika was just fast. He was just naturally fast. And Mika had to be fast whenever he got in a car, whether it be a demonstration run, a test session, or whatever it was. He always needed to be, he was the flying Finn. Came across in the media as very cold, very Scandinavian, even though he was from Finland, technically not part of Scandinavia. But outside of the car, absolute blast, absolute great guy, and somebody I still bump into now and again and have a good conversation with. Lovely guy, Mika.
Were you still with Red Bull for the Vettel and Mark Webber?
Oh yeah,
years?
yeah, I was absolutely within
16, 17?
Yeah. Well, no, earlier,
Okay.
earlier days. So Mark and Seb were sort of more 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah. Okay.
The multi-21 period.
Mark Williamson mentored Mark Webber when he first went to the UK in Formula Cars. So Mark Williamson was already there, as you know, my colleague on the channel.
Yep.
And he and Mark Webber are good friends as well. And Mark, if you're watching, you can put a word in and
go and join us.
Trouble is, he's in the UK most of the time now.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, we'd love to have him on the channel. Oh my God.
That's
I think you'd call that slammed. Kinda? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, you can get a bag paper.
Look, you could have a nice red car like that. Or you could have a nice red car like this. That's pretty, isn't it? Lancia Delta HF Integrale.
Interestingly, right-hand drive.
Yeah.
I always thought they only came in left-hand drive.
And as you say, converted in the UK to right-hand drive.
UK, John Wally, it was converted and then was brought into Victoria, and the last owner before me was from Adelaide, and I drove this back from Adelaide. Yeah, it's been good.
And you love it?
Yeah, love it. It drives like my Audi RS4. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks for showing it.
So,
So there are actually at least 4 928s here today, which is quite unusual. Nice to see them out. Just need to see them on the road more often, don't we? Not just at Cars and Coffee. Yeah. Sounding good too. Hey, listen, that's the end of the video today. Thank you, Richard,
Thank you,
for coming
Stu.
along. It's
No, been
9
great.
to 8,
Been
ain't it?
great. Loved it.
what an interesting character. We should do some more stuff with you. We will.